Hey everybody, it's Daren Baker of dbaker Designs. We've been working on this really cool table. Hopefully you got a chance to look at some of those videos to see how it was made. Really industrial table. I'll show it to you here in just a second. But today what we're working on is a design that we're going to put on top. We're going to stain a really cool logo to this table. Now, it's unfinished currently. The bottom is all finished and ready to go, but the top we still have to put a coat of Varathane on. But before we do that, I've picked up some stains that we're going to use to stain the pattern on here, or the look of the logo. So let me show you what we started to work on here. This is the logo that we're going to go on. Now this is a large print. It's 18 inches in height. Okay, and then it's right at 28 inches in length. Now this is going to go dead center of the table. This is the client that we're building this table for, this conference table for. Now I just put one strip down, but I started to go into the middle with some of the green masking tape. Now you can use blue, you can use tan. Personally, I don't ever use the tan because it just doesn't do a great job. It's hard to pull up. It leaves gummy residue to it. The blue is okay, but it tends to leak a lot. The green I found is my personal favorite. Now, you're going to have to pay extra for it. That is for sure. So let me tell you what we're going to do here. Once we get a nice large surface covered with the green tape, I'm going to come in with this, and I'm just going to put a little spray glue right on the back. Right? Then I'm going to come in and make sure that it's all centered. I'll make sure I get a center line going through here. I'll center it up to that. And from there, what we're going to do is basically just glue this right onto the tape with that spray glue. All right, so I've masked off a large area of the table right in the center where the logo is going to go. I went ahead and I got a little spray glue on the back of the piece of paper. That is going to serve as our template, and I've gone through and I've marked up with a pen exactly what color is going to go where. Now we're using natural wood as the basic background. We're going to do a dark slate, or a black almost stain. It's a water-based stain, and we're also going to use a medium gray and a light gray. So we've got red. Did I mention red? We're going to use red too. So I'm going to start with the darkest. So that way if I spill a light color on it, it's not going to be a big deal. Normally when I'm painting something, I start with a light and I get darker. With the staining, I'm going to start dark and get lighter. Okay, so let me show you what we're going to do and where the process is going to take place. So I've taken my pen right here and I have marked kind of where the colors are going to go. We've got natural here. That's what the letters are going to be. The car is going to be natural. Or wood color. This ribbon right across the center is going to be natural. The darkest is really just in Servant's Heart. That's going to be the darkest part. Then what I'm going to do is take some of that dark, I'm going to mix it with some of the light. I just bought two stains, the dark and the really light, and I'm going to make a darker gray. So that's what's going to go right in here. The dark gray is going to go on the outside of the heart here. And then it's also going to be this line, and in just different spots. So we'll go through each time that I do something here. We'll go through, and then I'll come back, probably go ahead and hit the light gray here, and then I'll finish off with the red. Okay, so the red is just the inside of the heart. So once that's all done, I'll peel away all the masking tape and I'll sand up as close as I'm comfortable to it. So just in case the tape pulls anything out or kind of stringies up the thread in a very micro kind of way. So again, you can see, and it's always a good idea to go ahead and mark things up there. Paper's bubbling a little bit, not a big deal. I guess I didn't get enough glue there, but it's not a big deal because really this is just the template. What's really doing the masking off is the green tape, and I've laid that down really good, no bubbles. Really pressed it down and kind of got it and really adhered well to the table. Also, to get this centered, I just obviously measured from end to end and from end to end to find center. Marked it center on the paper as well, and ta-da, lined it up perfectly. Okay, so that's the next step. We're going to go ahead and we're just going to cut out each thing that we need at a time. So I'm going to start by cutting out all the letters. I'll just do a light stain on that. If I need to go back with a second or a third coat, then I'll do so. and then we'll move on from there. All right, so we're staining the logo, getting ready to stain the logo. I've gone ahead and I cut out the servant's heart, the darkest part, and I remember we want to do the darkest and work our way to the lightest, so that way if we trip across anything, or we don't have to worry too much about it. Now, the stain that I'm using is a semi-transparent decking stain. I didn't want transparent because I thought it was a little light. I want a little more punch to the color, but I want the wood to kind of show up as well. So if you use a non-transparent or an opaque stain, it's going to be more like painting it. In that case, might as well just paint it, right? So let me show you what we're doing here. So the darkest is just the servant's heart. That's the only part that's black, or in this case, we're going to use slate, not quite black. The most difficult part, really, I was able to cut out servant's heart in a matter of about 10 minutes, but then it has all these little things. I don't know if it's going to show up. I don't know if the stain is going to bleed through there or not. It might have been a bunch of work for nothing, but doing all these little goofy little tab things here took about an hour. So what I did is I cut out the letters first, and then I came back and I added these. I just pulled out a strip of tape, laid it out on a piece of plastic, and then cut out these tiny little things with my X-Acto knife, and then attached them there on how they were on the letters. So the idea is the letters want to look a little bit beefy and rustic, or maybe slightly distressed. So we're going to try that. Now what I'm using here is just a simple foam brush, again a semi-transparent stain, and I'm going to probably try to do this in 2, 3, 4 coats, maybe even. I don't think I'm going to get it in one, but I want to put it on really lightly so these show up as missing bits. So it's also going to stink to pull all those little pieces off, but we'll see how it works out. Maybe it'll be a failure in process, maybe it'll work out. We'll find out soon enough. All right, so as I stain this, I'm just going to start really light, and I'm going to come in from the tape and just go over it super light to start. I have just a teeny bit on my brush. So that's where it's starting, just kind of getting in there. Yeah, you can tell how light it is, that it's going to take several coats. So that gives you an idea. Try not to move the camera too much here since I'm just holding it, of how it's going to go. So hopefully it won't bleed too much under those little pieces there. If it does, it does. I lost a little time, but other than that, that's all I've lost. So, and I'm trying not to squeeze too much out. I want to continue to stay. Yeah, I've already seen some of those little guys peeling up. So we'll see. We'll see. I'll keep going and show you what it looks like in a little bit. All right, so you can see we've got the first, well, I probably did 3 coats so far of the slate gray. I'm probably going to do 1 or 2 more coats on that. I got a heater on it. It's about 35 degrees out right now, so I got a heater on it so it actually dries instead of freezing. So now that brings us to the darker gray. So I've cut out the paper there, just left paper where I wanted to still go back over with red or with gray as my template. So I've removed all the rest of the paper and just left what I needed, so I get a clearer look to what I need to be doing and where I need to watch edges. And also I'm coming back through as I pull these apart and making sure that I get this tape pushed down really good. I might come back and cut out this edge a little bit more. It's a little shaky there. So the next thing I'm going to do is the darker gray. Now I got a dark gray, that's the slate, almost black, and then I got a light gray, which is a more of a Stonehenge-y or a light concrete color. So what I've done now is I've mixed the two to make a medium to darker gray. So that's what's going to go in through here, these lines all through there, and then we'll come back and we'll finish up with the light gray here and then the red. So that's our next step. A couple more coats of the slate. Get a couple of coats of the darker gray or medium gray on. All right, so we're almost done with the staining. We've got the red down, we've got the dark gray down, we've got the dark slate, almost black down. I'm finishing up on the light gray. Let me show you where we're at. We've cut everything out. We're just gonna finish up the light gray. Looking at it from the top side this time, all the paper now has been removed almost, except for a couple spots that are still stuck on there. This is all gonna be a light gray through here. You can see the red is still kind of drying. I might want to do one more coat. It's kind of a brick red. It's a little bit splotchy in areas, so I want to try to smooth that out as much as I can, but it's probably going to stay a little bit splotchy just because it's plywood, and that's the way it is. Now on these smaller bits through here, like right in there where the bolts are, I have to be really careful, and I'm just using a small little brush. On the bigger pieces, I'm using a small foam brush, but I still have to be careful because I don't want to cross over this little thin line into the darker gray. But as I'm pulling some of these up, and the green that already has, the green tape that's already had some stain put on it, the tape is doing a pretty good job. So I'm really hopeful that this is going to turn out pretty spot on. So I'm going to do a light gray, a couple coats here, one more coat on the red maybe, and then we'll start pulling the tape up. All right, so we got the whole table. It's stained up and pretty much ready to go. We still got to tear the masking off. So let's take a look at the progress so far. We got all the red down, the gray, the light gray up at the top here and at the bolts. There's this little line right here and here. Originally, I had planned for that to be a dark gray, but when I did the red over it, I thought it might just darken it up a little bit. But with this being a semi-opaque or semi-transparent, however you want to look at it, stain, it pretty much just covered it up. So I had to go back in there, and I just did that by hand. So it's not as tight as I'd like it to be, but it still looks really good, and I used the slate for that. So if I'm going to back up a little bit, I was looking at the tape this morning and how much I used. That's a little excessive. I got a little carried away, but I also like to use a lot of the surrounding areas to keep the cans on and the brushes on and just not have to worry about anything getting on the actual wood. So that's one reason why I did it, but that was a little bit more than I would normally use. If you're going to do something like this, you don't need to spend the extra $2-3 in tape. So anyway, we're going to peel this off. I'll show you what it looks like here. I peeled all the masking off. It's looking great. I started to varnish it, and then I realized, oh, I need to show you where we've come so far. So there's a little bit of varnish over it. You can get an idea of how it's going to look. But it turned out great. Let's take a look here. It's got a little shine to it now because I started varnishing before I stopped to do this. But even all those little bits and pieces of tape in there, they ended up doing their job great. The green tape was perfect for this gig. So that's it. That's what you're looking at. I'm going to go ahead and varnish it up. Back up a little bit so you can kind of get a better look. All right. Thanks for checking in. Bye-bye.